Hey there, glad you could join me for video number 3 of the word stress series. As a quick recap, let's talk about what we did in videos 1 and 2. In video 1, I introduced you to the concept of word stress. We looked at syllable level word stress. We talked about how we stress a syllable by saying it longer, stronger, louder, clearer, higher in pitch, full vowel pronunciation. And then in contrast, we looked at the unstressed syllables being shorter, weaker, quieter, less clear, surprisingly, lower in pitch. And most importantly, we talked about schwa, our good friend schwa, and how most unstressed vowels are pronounced as uh. All right, that was the foundation. Then we started applying it to different words. For example, with this word here, adjective, adjective, right? Because the stress is on the first syllable, whereas in the second word, which looks very similar based on the spelling, the stress is supposed to be on the second syllable. So we say objective, objective. Notice how that first syllable becomes an ob. That's schwa at work. And then in video 2, we looked at some common stress patterns. I'm not going to go over all of these, but one of the things we did look at was some predictable rules for Greek and Latin origin words. And that was, there were two major patterns there. So one are the word endings that tell us to stress the second last syllable. Those were shun, jun, ik, and there might be more, but those are some of the most predictable ones. Constitution, information, right? And then with the X, we had photographic, economic. Then we looked at the other group of words that tell us to stress the third last syllable. That changes everything. So all of these Y endings, as well as a few other ones. So we ended up with constitutional, photography, which is very different than above here, photographic. Okay, so that's kind of what we covered last time. So let's move on. Today we're going to move on to sentence level word stress. This is where we look at a whole sentence and decide which words we're going to stress in that sentence. To start this off, I want to show you the idea of the two groups of words that we'll be dealing with. If I told you this dazzling story, I to the and I of, would you know what I mean? Do you have a feeling about what happened here? Obviously, no. There's really no meaning here. Basically, okay, yeah, there's some meaning there, but most of these words really have very little meaning. However, if I said to you, yesterday went store, bought couple pairs socks. You know what I'm talking about. Yesterday went store, bought couple pairs socks. How do you like my drawing of a sock? Maybe it should have been like two fingers. It's like, okay, anyway, that actually has some meaning, right? However, it's not a correct English sentence if we just say, yesterday went, store, bought, couple pairs, socks. It doesn't actually sound, it's not a real English sentence. What we end up needing is we need both groups of words. But if you had to decide which of these two groups of words you would want to stress and which you would want to unstress, which would you choose? Of course, the first group of words should be unstressed. And the second group of words, which carry all the meaning, should be stressed. So I'll make those bold. Okay, so that tells you that we have two different kinds of words. In phonetics, when you're learning about pronunciation in textbooks, they refer to the first group of words as function words, and the second group of words they call content words. Okay, let's make a little chart here. So, which words do we normally stress in a sentence, and which words do we normally unstress in a sentence? Nouns, we stress. Pronouns, we do not. Generally, you can always stress things for your own particular reason, but this is the usual case. Okay, we've got main verbs over here. We stress those. And then over here, we've got helping verbs, aka auxiliary verbs. Those ones we do not stress. In the sentence, do you like ice cream? The do is our helping verb, our auxiliary verb. And like will be our main verb. That's one that has the meaning, right? Do just serves a function. So instead of saying, do you like, we say, do you like? Do you like ice cream? So, do you? Well, actually, that does both of our things here. Do you, because you is unstressed, becomes schwa, you. So, do you becomes dia. And then we have our main verb, like, and then nouns, ice cream. So we get, do you like ice cream? Okay, let's keep going. Adjectives, adverbs. These are the big four that carry most of the meaning in sentences. Over here, we also have be verb. It's not very important. In fact, it's so unimportant that we often cut the vowel sound out of it. It is, as you know, becomes it's. We actually cut the vowel out of it, out of the is, because it's really not that significant. We can easily figure out the be verb. We need it for grammar to make a proper sentence, but it's not really necessary for communication purposes. So be verb is unstressed. Here's a surprising one, maybe for some of you. Modal verbs can, could, would, will, might, must, may, should. Those words are usually not stressed. On this side, we also have articles, and, the, and we also have coordinating conjunctions. Mainly, we think of like and, but, or, so, those words. They're called fanboys. If you've watched my other video, you know about fanboys. My one on sentence types. Okay. Over here, we also have negative words, not, never, neither, nor, those kinds of words. They're stressed. They really do change the meaning of a sentence. I am a doctor. I am not a doctor. That's kind of a different story. I am not a doctor does not sound as good to me as I am a doctor. It's a different world. Although it's great being a teacher too, really. Right. What about prepositions? Should we stress prepositions? Trick question. Yes and no. For prepositions of location, and that's just my own term. I don't know what these prepositions are actually called. There's probably some name for them, but I mean things like under, over, between, beside, those kinds of words that tell you where a thing is located. That really does change the meaning of your sentence. That's important information. So, yes, we do stress those. But for prepositions of grammar, and again, that's my own term. I don't know what you call these things, but I mean the ones that just do a grammar job, the functional role that prepositions can play. And I just mean words like of, to, for, about, those kinds of prepositions. They really don't have much meaning, and so they don't usually get stressed. So now if we look above and we have our sentence from before, we had our two groups of words. Yesterday, that's a noun, stress it. I, pronoun, don't stress it. Went, main verb, stress it. To, preposition, don't stress. The, article, don't stress. Store, noun. Coordinating conjunction, no. I, no. Bought, verb, main verb. A, article. Couple, noun. Preposition of, no. Pairs, noun, yes. Of, preposition, no. Socks, noun, yes. So we end up saying for this whole sentence, yesterday I went to the store and I bought a couple of pairs of socks. Yesterday I went to the store and I bought a couple of pairs of socks. Put those two groups of words together, the function words, the content words. One group is unstressed, the other group is stressed. And now we get a real English sentence with its da 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 da. Okay? That's what English sounds like. Let's take a look at some examples here. Imagine that this sentence from person A is spoken. Can you go to the party? Which words are we going to stress? Can? No, it's a modal. You? No, it's a pronoun. Go? Yes, it's our main verb. To? No, it's a preposition. The? No, it's an article. Party? Yes. And we stress the first syllable of that word. So we get can. That's unstressed. Schwa. Can you can you go to the party? And then person B answers. And they could either say this or they could say this. So how do we pronounce this? I, no, unstressed, because it's a pronoun. Can, no, it's a modal, unstressed. Go, yes, we stress it. So we say, I can, I can, I can go. In the second sentence, again, I, unstressed, it's a pronoun, but this one is stressed because it has the negative word attached to it. So we do stress it. And then this one, again, is a main verb, so we stress that too. So we say, I can't go. I can't go. Do you hear the T very clearly? Not really. Can't, can't, I can't go. So how do we know if it's the positive or the negative if you don't hear the T? Well, it's because of word stress. If it were positive, I would unstress it. So I would say schwa. I would not say the full vowel pronunciation. I would say, I can, I can. If it's negative, we stress it. That means we say the full vowel pronunciation and nice and long. Can't, I can't go. I can't go. The first one, I can go. I can go. Second one, I can't go. I can't go. So imagine you think, oh, I must say every word clearly so that people will understand me. Maybe that's my robot approach. I can go. You say to somebody, I can go. And they think you just said the negative because they heard can. And the only time we say can is when it's negative. Can't. So if you say, I can go, everybody will be confused. And you'll have all kinds of miscommunications. And, people say, do you want to, can you go to the party? And you're like, I can go. And they're like, oh, that's too bad. And you're like, I can go. And like, I know you can't go. It's okay. Maybe next time. Okay. Bye. And you're like, I can go. What a sad story. Tragedy, really. Okay, so you see the importance of this word stress stuff here. This is actually communicationally imperative. Ooh, communicationally imperative. Big words. Okay, let's put this into practice. Let's try a few sentences and see how this all works out. I've made three sentences here. Cats chase mice, right? Three syllables. And then we have sentence number two. The cats are chasing mice. That is six syllables. Or the third sentence, the cats could have been chasing the mice. Chinese body language. So clever. They can count from 1 to 10 on one hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Anyway, Chinese. So clever. This one is nine syllables. So if we were predicting how long it would take to speak each of these sentences, you might say like, oh, that first sentence is pretty fast. I could probably do that in like, I don't know, 0.8 seconds. And that second one, well, it's twice as many syllables, probably like 1.5 seconds longer. And then that third one, it's got to be over two. Let's call it 2.3 seconds. Okay. And then you try to say these. And actually, if you're watching this video right now, I encourage you to do this right now. Take out your phone, okay? Turn your timer on, your stopwatch, and time yourself. Read sentence one, write it down. Read sentence two, write it down. Read sentence three, write it down. Okay? I've done this with many classes before, many, many students. And this is kind of what I usually get. I usually get something like this prediction, right? It's pretty much zero point 0.8 or zero point 0.6, to be honest. The second one is usually about 1.2, and this third one is closer to 1.8. Okay, it's basically following the syllables, double, triple, so double, triple, basically like we predicted. However, here comes John, and he reads sentence number one, and I've got my stopwatch here. So here we go. Ready? Cats chase mice. 1.5. So slow, so slow. Gee. Sentence number two. The cats are chasing mice. Eh? 1.5 again? What's wrong with John? Something strange is going on here. Well, let's try the third sentence. The cats could have been chasing the mice. 1.6, it's the same. Look at that. Okay. You're wondering 1.5, 1.5, 1.6, those are all the same. What's going on here? Probably if you did the recording, it turned out something like this, which is not the same as what happened when I read it. So let's figure out what's happening. Well, how many stress syllables do we have in sentence number one? That's stressed, noun, verb, noun, three stresses. In sentence two, we also have three stresses, noun, chasing, only the che is stressed, and mice again. And then in sentence three, we also have three stressed syllables. We've got cats. Could is a modal. We don't stress it. Have, been. These are all auxiliary helping verbs. And then chase, again, sing. The is an article. We don't stress it. Mice. So again, we have three stressed syllables. So this points to something very important about English. English is considered a stress timed language. That means we have an equal amount of time between each stressed syllable. Most other languages are syllable timed languages. That means that the amount of time that you spend saying it depends on how many syllables you have. So in this sentence, if this is three syllables, if this is six, this is nine, it should take double and triple the time in most languages. But English is not that way. English times our speaking based on our number of stressed syllables. So let me demonstrate this to you. I've got a pen, I've got my phone. Okay, I'm going to keep a regular rhythm going. Every time I say a stressed syllable, I'm going to be tapping my phone. Ready? Cats chase mice. Cats chase mice. They're all very slow and long. Ready? Okay, now we're going to move on to the second sentence. The cats are chasing mice. The cats are chasing mice. Again, I'm keeping the same rhythm. My stressed syllables are landing when my pen lands, right? Okay, now we're going to move on to the third sentence. Let's see what happens there. The cats could have been chasing the mice. The cats could have been chasing the mice. Cats chase mice. The cats are chasing mice. The cats could have been chasing the mice. Okay, hopefully that dramatic demonstration showed you that we do take the same amount of time for each of these sentences. The weird thing for most students who are learning English is how long we have to make these first ones. It's not what you naturally want to do. You probably naturally want to say catch chase mice, right? But that's not how we do it in English. These are all stressed words. They're important words. So we need you to hear them. And I need to wait for the next tap. So I can't say catch chase mice. I have to go cats chase mice. So I have to stretch them out, right? The second syllable is not quite as much stretching because we have another word in the middle here, another and we have another syllable here, ing. So that shortens our vowels a little bit. We get the cats are chasing mice. The cats are chasing mice. Compared to cats chase mice. Cats chase mice. This number two is the cats are chasing mice. A little bit shorter. But what happens in the third sentence? That's wild. Okay. We have could have been. Okay, what happens here? So could becomes could because of schwa. Have becomes div. So now we have could have, and been becomes been, could have been, could have been. And even that's a little bit hard. So we often remove the V of, right? And we end up with could have been, could have been. The cats could have been che, cats could have been che. We have to say it really fast because we don't have much time. That pen is coming down for the next thing. The cats could have been che, the cats could have been chasing the mice. So we have to get that could have been, and we also have should have been, would have been, might have been, must have been, right? Our other modals can do that too in the past. So we get the cats could have been chasing the mice. The cats could have been chasing the mice. And that's how you say this properly. In fact, if you ask a native English speaker to read this sentence for you, especially if you put it in the middle of a story so they're not focusing on it. For example, they might say, nobody knew where the cats were. They thought the cats could have been chasing the mice. They thought they might have been doing this. They could have been doing that. Okay. Any native English speaker will read it that way. And then you say to them, oh, please slow down. You're speaking too quickly. And they'll say, okay, you want me to make this clear? The cats could have been chasing the mice. That's as clearly as I can speak this sentence. The cats could have been chasing the mice. I'll probably almost never say could have been, right? It's always going to be could have been. So this reveals a lot about English. And what I want you to remember is this first sentence. You really need to stretch out the vowels when you have two stressed syllables in a row, just like I did. Balloons. Two stressed syllables in a row. Too stressed, too stressed. I didn't say too stressed. When you have two stressed syllables in a row, right, then you need to stretch them out more than you think. Let's take a look at a couple of practice sentences here. Are you ready? If you want, you could have your pen tapping away. Number one, the guy at the top of the hill is Tony. Do, 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 do. Even hill is a little bit longer than guy and top because guy has two unstressed syllables to fill into the same time. Top also two, but hill only has one unstressed syllable. Therefore, hill will be just a little bit longer. We get the guy at the top of the hill is Tony. Hill is Tony, right? How about number two? This is kind of tricky. The tricky part is right here. Stress, stress. We have two stress syllables in a row. So the first one has to be a lot longer than you think. The last person to leave the room can lock the door. The last person to leave the room can lock the door, right? The last person to blah, blah. So it's da 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 da. That's how that one works. Let's move on to number three. It's time for the movie to start. So nice and regular. Now, how about number four? There's some interesting stuff here in number four. Okay, hopefully you notice that we have several stressed words in a row here. The one difference here is that I'd probably put a small pause here because this is the end of a thought group. Maybe I'll do a video about that sometime, about thought groups and chunking. It's another concept you can look up. Look up chunking and thought groups on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find lots of videos about that. Maybe I'll make one someday. Anyway, one, two, three. These are stressed. These are all stressed syllables. So listen to how I say this. Ready? There's a big red truck parked in front of the school. So we have big red truck parked in front of the school. Parked in front of the school. Notice all that unstressing. We drop a lot of little sounds when we unstress things. The ending of it, the T is unstressed. Um, Front is a stressed one. It's a directional preposition in front. There's a big red truck parked in front of the school. We heard number five before. This is the sound of English. This is the sound of English. And then this last one, and it sounds like this. From what I've read, working on your word stress is the most effective thing that you can do to improve your pronunciation quickly. From what I've read, working on your word stress is the most effective thing that you can do to improve your pronunciation quickly. True story. Okay, so I hope that's a good introduction to the idea of sentence level word stress. We'll do one more video at the end to tie it all together. The last video will probably be a little shorter, but it'll tie everything together. So don't forget, like, subscribe, share. Let's see what else would be helpful. Rewatch, make comments at the bottom. That's fun. I often look down there and it's great to see your responses. And oh, have a good day. There's the last thing. Okay, ciao.